Hey everyone, welcome. My name is Marilyn Shannon, and this is the Breaking Free Show. And as always, I'm delighted to have you join us. Join me in wherever you are. I'm here in Cary, Raleigh, North Carolina. Where are you? And it's great to have you. So today we have an open dialogue. How often is it that you are invited to just share? And I'm going to share. And we're just going to talk, have an open dialogue, like a fireside chat about whatever comes up. I got a few things I want to bring up and things that I have been noticing in this world, in my life, but I want to invite you to do the same. So you can connect with us through our chat. You can put your name in on the line, it says nickname, name, whatever, and take part in our chat. You can call us anytime during the show at 919-518-9773. And you can come in on Skype voice, computers, 2K voice, anytime you like. You can call in and just share what's going on because, the more we connect with each other, the better it is. And so let me say hi to Amnon first.
Hello.
How are you?
I am just fine. How are you?
I'm
I
doing.
love that hat.
Do you do?
I love that hat.
So I
Did
should
you get
wear
it
more.
in a yard sale somewhere?
Does it
Or
look like I got it at a yard sale?
yes, I mean you don't. This is not something that you would see today. This is something
Really?
really, really
No, I
nice.
didn't. Thank you. But I did. I love hats. And, women will know that the different, layers or levels of your hair, the longer, the shorter, whatever, different hats look good with different hair. So with short hair, this does not look good. There's a balance to a hat and to hair. But the other day there was a big art show here in Raleigh called Art Splosure.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to, we were there and walking around. There was a lady with the most unusual hats. And I saw one that was like the color of turquoise, which I love. And I went to try it on. It was like $100 for this hat. So
Jeez.
of course I did not, invest in it, but it was a really, really cool hat. And I would have worn it in a heartbeat. The thing is, though, I probably couldn't have worn it here because it was blue.
Yeah,
And my background is blue, and
won't
I
work.
probably would look like, things were
Yep.
coming through my head.
Yep.
But it was a beautiful hat. So I know to be on the lookout for more hats because I might just start wearing more hats. I mean, it's about freedom,
Oh yeah.
right? And I feel like, why not? I like
Hey, no
hats.
reason why not.
Why not? I mean, there's no reason why any of us can't. Why not? You know what I mean? So anyway, please feel free to call in. I would love to hear what's going on in your life. There's a lot. I hear from a lot of people on a regular basis that there's a lot of things going on around them, and there is. And I don't know if the world, the planet is speeding up. I don't know. I can't put a fault or a blame on where it's coming from. I just know that things are happening quickly, and maybe it's my impression, my imagination, just because of how fast, let's say, technology is and how things change, and you kind of feel a part of that shift, and so things do feel like they're happening fast, and because of that, it's nice just to have some friends that you can sit around and talk to about the things that are going on. And sometimes we don't always have that opportunity. And maybe you don't know me. Maybe I don't know you. But I know that with a little bit, our hearts can be connected. So feel free to call me anytime. So could you put on that first slide? And I use this slide very often when I am here with you without a guest and it's just you and me. I say you have a license to communicate. You have a license to share whatever is going on in your mind. And I do that from the bottom of my heart. And I really do believe that the more we share, the better the world will be, the better the planet will be. So feel free to take this as my personal invitation. All right. And I have a couple of things here that I thought, I looked online yesterday and I thought, okay, there are some really cool quotes out, and I always see them. And if you're on Facebook or Instagram or wherever you are, you're going to see them too. And so we're going to talk about some of those. And one of the main conversations I would like to have today is about excuses. And we're going to get to that because I notice a lot in that popping up in my life, and I see it a lot in other people. So we're going to talk about that. But before we do, I just saw this quote and I thought it was really cute. Don't judge me. I was born to be awesome, not perfect. And I thought that is a really cute quote. I was born to be awesome, And what's the difference between being awesome and being perfect? I think with perfection, there's a certain amount of um, like you have to be something. You like there's specific things that we have to look at ourselves and say, I have to do this perfect. I have to do this perfectly. I have to do this perfectly. It's like a container. But with awesome, there is no gauging, of what you do. There's no saying, well, you have to be a one from a 1 to a 10. There's no rating and gauging. It's just great. It's your awesomeness. It's that you've given things a try. It's that you've gotten off of you know what and given something your best shot. It's how you show up every day. And perfection, who are you gonna compare yourself to in perfection anyway? I mean, somebody else? You can't. It's impossible. So within our awesomeness, we are perfect within our awesomeness. So anyway, keep that in mind. So the next one, what do people do with all the extra time that they save by writing K instead of OK? What do you ever do that?
No,
Amnan's laughing.
I just learned about that.
You
But
did? How come?
people put KK. Okay, okay.
And so what are we doing?
This is just, I mean, that's who you should ask.
Oh, could I ask him?
Absolutely.
Can he get on? Come on, come share it with me. Okay, everybody, I want you to meet Nathaniel. Come here. Can everybody see him? Come here. Come close, honey.
Yes.
Come close. Oh, so Nathaniel is our intern, right?
Yes.
And he is from. Go ahead, tell everybody.
Wake Forest, North Carolina.
And you go to,
UNC Chapel Hill.
and you are doing fill in the blanks. You're doing what here?
I'm doing what here?
Yeah.
Well, I'm interning with Omnon for the summer.
Ask him about the KK.
KK.
It's kind of like similar to like anything you use like TTYL or TBH. It's just like talk to you later, or just
Why
like
do
it's
we
a
do that?
shorthand, so
Why do
people
we do
don't
that?
have to pay as much attention to other people. I think honestly, it shortens conversation. It doesn't make you have to.
So is it like flipping people off?
No.
I wouldn't necessarily say that, but it.
No, I mean, it's how do you text, how are you?
I use the word you a lot, so I don't have to type it
The
out.
word?
I mean the
I just
letter.
put HR.
So it's the
I
same
use
thing.
you.
Are you? So you just instead of
Right.
ARE.
Right. So it's not
YOU.
it's not about saving time.
It is.
It is about saving time.
Okay, so and
Instead
it's
of
about
two
more.
characters, OK or OKAY,
Yeah.
you put K.
But are we doing that why are we doing that? To save time, or because it's less engagement, or it's less personal, or what? Why are we doing that?
Why aren't you typing ARE and you're
Because I
typing the
can make
letter
a
R?
because very often I am rushing.
Okay, no, that's
No, I'm
it.
rushing, and then I figure it's a lot to type. And
It's
I don't-
exactly the same for the same
Okay,
reason.
so it's
So I don't
because
know how you're going
it's not because of saving time. It's just that because it's a lot to type, and it gets complicated to have to type every letter. So
Right.
it's easier when I can figure out, instead
That's
of
what I would
YOU,
think.
I can write you. Instead of how are you, I write R. Wherever I can abbreviate a little bit, I do, because it's just a lot to
It's
type.
abbreviation. That's
It's
it. It's,
abbreviation.
well, it's not really abbreviation. It's like its own language. They have their own language.
So
you
you're
know.
a millennial.
I guess so. I mean,
Okay, so-
What is that? Kin talk, parents watching. There's something like
Who-
that.
what?
They have something that they type in.
That we're not supposed to understand.
See, like can't talk, parents watching, and the parents look at if they are, and they don't know what you said.
You know what? I was brought up Jewish, and when my parents didn't want me to know what they were talking about, they would speak in Jewish,
Yeah,
in
well-
Yiddish. But there were certain words that there were no translations for.
Right.
So if you could understand anything, you could just connect the dots from this English word to that English word, and you'd figure out what they were talking about.
Yeah.
So, okay, so give me your opinion about the K and the OK. Is it just, is it for saving time? Is it for being less personal? How would you look at it? Because are you creating this? Is your millennials creating these little shortcuts? Who's creating those shortcuts, do you think?
well, I feel like just like as kids get younger, they have a smaller attention span for things. They like doing multiple things at once, and so because of that time saver, you're now allowed to do more things because you don't have to spend as much time typing because people have like a general knowledge of what the new like word means. Like K, that means okay. You don't have to actually say that anymore.
So what other? Well,
Chris put something makes
okay,
very
let me
much
see
sense.
what did she put? Let's see.
That K is like shorthand. It is.
Yeah.
If you're taking shorthands, you don't want to write. I mean, every character is time.
Yeah, and I'm not going to look at it in a negative way. I'm going to say
not.
life is exciting, and then there's other things to do.
Oh, it's POS.
What is she saying? Parents over shoulder?
Yeah.
Oh, does she know that for a fact? Or
Apparently.
Chris, are you making that up and you know that for a fact? Is that
And-
what it is?
and-
Do you
I
know
haven't
that?
heard of that.
And Chris, you can't see Nathan very well because he's wearing a blue shirt, so it looks like he's got a floating head.
Oh, was that true? See, next time you better wear any color but blue or green because you never know when you might be pulled into the spotlight and have to be part of the show. But that's interesting, parents over shoulder. Okay, so what other ones do we commonly use? I think this is really interesting. Tell me what other ones we commonly use.
I mean, I use talk to you later all the time. TTYL.
Okay.
And like HR.
Can I write this down while you talk?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
TTY.
No,
Okay,
it's TWYL.
give it to me straight.
TW. Talk with you later.
Talk.
TW.
I don't-
talk
we don't-
with
I don't use that.
you
Really? What do you
later.
put?
TWL.
TT. There's two T's.
TT. Go ahead. What was yours? TT. What?
YL. Talk to you later.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, talk to you later.
Oh,
Yeah,
talk to you
that's right.
later. Talk with you later. Okay, you could do that
Yeah.
too. What else?
I all the times do HRU, which means
H.
how are
R-
you?
Okay.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Are
mean,
there any other common ones?
LOL, laugh out loud. That's very.
No, that's a common one.
Yeah.
And I never can remember what. I can't.
See, but like
It's-
after people
it's
get
like a
used
new
to it, that's like
language.
how they. That's how they.
Yeah.
It's how they
talk
do it.
instead.
Are there
Like
any others?
TBH, like to be honest, or
To be hon-
FYI.
Oh, FYI, we created that.
Yeah. But
And
I
what was the
do
other one? T what? T what?
TBH, which is to
T-
be honest.
TBH. And how often do you have to say that?
I don't know, like someone
not?
says something, you don't agree with it, and be like, to be honest, that's not really accurate or something like that.
Uh-huh. Okay.
IMHO.
I am what?
IMHO.
What is that?
In my humble opinion, when you,
I've
you
never
try
used
when you
that.
try to tell somebody something and you don't want to insult them. Well,
Do you use
My
that? Do
humble-
you talk like
in
this?
in email.
In email. Well, if anybody's out there, not if anybody, but anybody out there, if you have any others that we can play with, I'd love to hear them because I think this is very cool. It wasn't what I expected, but it is very cool. So that would be great because this is very interesting. Anyway, and I think a lot of people, we use them, or sometimes I see them and I don't know what they are, and I make believe I didn't see them. What is she
He's
saying?
saying there should be one for parents. KOS, kids over shoulder.
That's true too, I think. That's great. Good. Well, if you got any others, call us up because we'd love to share those
Yeah.
too, right? All right. So I would say it's not for, thank you. You might stay close. I might call you again. So listen, it's not because we don't have time. It's because for me, making a mistake typing and then going back and then type this and type that, it just takes a long time. And sometimes you are busy. So anyway, all right. What's the next one I got up there? Let's see. Okay. All right. So one of the things that has been coming up a lot for me lately, and I've been seeing it a lot, is people making excuses for things. I've done it myself, and I do it because I don't want to go work out again at night. I want to just stay home. I don't want to do this, or I'm scared to do that, or I've never done it before, so what's it going to be like? So here is one that I thought was very cute. Sorry, I can't today. My sister's friends, mothers, grandpas, brothers, grandsons, uncle's fish died. And yes, it was tragic. So we can come up with many, many excuses for things. And what's the point? Life is short. And you want to do something. And I think doing something, getting things done, and putting our compassion and passion into doing things, we really don't need the excuse. We're going to come out a winner no matter what for just giving it a whirl. And when you hear other people making excuses, how do you feel? How do you feel when you've listened and you can hear an excuse? So what's the worst thing that can happen? is that you give something a try and you go from there. I mean, there's all kinds of ways of running away from things. And, you know, trying to dot every I and cross every T before you actually write that book or create that piece of music. And I've chatted about this before, I know, to friends, to family, and on here. I mean, we waste a lot of time, and time is so precious. My mother was telling me a story. My mother is going to be 91, and yeah, really. And my mother is amazing. And she has these friends. She lives in Florida. She had these friends, and very good friends. And one of her friends, had, this couple, had a friend who they used to go out a lot, the three of them. It was a husband and wife and this male friend. And then they started asking my mother to come, and my mother would go. And, the guy was like 70, and he just, he liked my mother. And so my mother would, go along and they'd laugh. And my mother's 91 and going to be 91, and the rest of them are in their 70s. So this guy heard my mother make some mean pot roast, and so for the longest time she kept promising him pot roast, and the guy had cancer. So my mother decided she wanted me to be there when she made this dinner party, but since I haven't been there, she said she was going to make this dinner party without me. So not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before, she invited the couple and this gentleman and another couple to her house for dinner. And she went all out. It took her probably 2 weeks to between going shopping and preparing, because she is 90, and it takes a lot, and so she doesn't like to do it all in one day. So she did all these things, and she invited these people to her home. And the gentleman that was very, very sick with cancer could barely eat, but he was there anyway. And do you know, this was on last Sunday, a week ago yesterday. Do you know Monday he went into a coma and he died today? And so my mother, she's amazed by this, that he had been asking for her to make this pot roast for the longest time, and when she finally did, and she
that's it.
and that was it, nothing else to live for, made pot roast. But the time is precious, and time, I mean, it's precious, and so making excuses is not going to get us anywhere. But hearing when we do that, here, like really listening to our underlying conversations, like what is underlying the excuse, why are we doing that? I mean, underlying excuses comes to a fear of something, and by saying to yourself what is the worst thing that will happen, can really turn the tide for anybody. So anyway, let me remind you to please feel free. Let's see, Chris is saying, oh yeah, Chris was saying that this, what I'm talking about, um, reminds her of a guest we had a couple of weeks ago, Max Ivy, who calls himself the blind blogger, and he is all about not making excuses, no excuses, because it's easy. We can all make excuses. Max can make excuses for a lot of things, and he was here on our show and could not see himself, did not know, how he looked in the frame. Amnon was here, and Amnon would, we realized that he was like kind of sweat, going a little bit off screen, and we had to tell him. But so what? I mean, he fixed it. He got back into where he needed to be, and it was good. So he doesn't make excuses. He finds a way to make something happen out of nothing. And that's the idea. Making something out of nothing. And we all can do that, and then we're really awesome. We're in our awesomeness. Anyway, let me remind you, 919-518-9773. Please feel free to call me, or you can Skype in with us at Computers 2K Skype, 2K Voice, and you can also go into our chat and take part in there as well. Chris is in there talking a lot, and just join us because we'd love to have you. So the next one. So here, don't take life so seriously. It's not like you're going to get out alive. Now, you've heard that before, but I just thought that this image was very, very interesting, very cool. Just a good reminder of this quote, because, I mean, what the heck? I mean, why not? you have one life. Go stretch yourself today. What might you want to do that you have been putting off, putting off, putting off? And what would it be like if you stretched yourself today into being able to do something without making the excuse, without saying for whatever reason that you can't? I think sometimes we get so in the habit of making an excuse that we don't even know really and truly what's really going on. We really have lost track sometimes of why we're not doing it. We're so used to just making excuses. But when you really ask yourself the questions and you really listen for the answer, I think you really realize that no excuse is so big and no fear is so tremendous to keep you away from something or someone. That's another thing. I'm always bothered, feelings of sadness, I guess, when I hear that members of families and best friends and friends stop talking to each other because of something that is usually something that isn't so terrible and tragic that it couldn't be worked through. And people take no for an answer. Somebody turns you down, or you reached out and somebody didn't reach back, so you don't reach back out again. That saddens me because I know deep down in my heart that if you tried a little bit more, you sent another birthday card, a Christmas card, you just kept on keeping on for that relationship, I know that things would work out. I really believe that. And I don't think it takes that much to make a relationship work. I just don't think I think we take the easy way out sometimes because we're afraid of rejection. We're afraid of, I can't even think of all the things that we're afraid of. I don't even want to think about all the things we're afraid of. Because goodness gracious, if you think of all the things you might turn into a fear, you'd never get out of bed. You wouldn't even want to open your eyes. Because we can turn anything into a fear. And so, if you are involved in a relationship, a brother, a sister, a mother, a father, I think you can make things happen that wouldn't be so terrible and making up. And it's not even about assuming fault. It's just about getting past whatever somebody thought or didn't think. So give that a try. And you're not going to take it with you. We're not going to get out of this alive. So you might as well give it your best shot. So, next one. So, if it is important to you, you will find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse. It's easy to find excuses. It's excuses are it's just right there. And why wouldn't they be easy? So it takes things that we want, things to appreciate, and things that we want that we can be grateful for. We have to sometimes work for them so that they have meaning to us. I don't want to keep talking about things that are in my life now. I would love for you to talk, but these are things that I think are prompting me to have done this kind of a show today. So my mother-in-law is transitioning. She's at the end of her life. And she is this woman who had 9 children and raised them in the most magnificent way. She's got a gentle voice. She didn't scream. She's full of grace and faith and just this beautiful, beautiful woman. And the other night I was sitting by her bedside talking to her a little bit. And she has taken each of her, and she knows she's dying. She's been aware of that consciously, maybe not so consciously sometimes, but subconsciously, maybe subconsciously, not consciously, I don't know. But she's been somewhere aware that she's been dying. And she has started giving away each piece of her jewelry, pocketbooks, whatever she had, one by one. And it's been the most amazing thing to watch. And so I said something to her the other night because she gave me uh, this amazing.
And
No, it's not a pin. It's like it's this big gold filigree thing on a black rope chain, kind of. And she told me one day, go to my top drawer on the right. So I did. And I pulled it out. And she knew where everything was. As sick as she is and as much medication she has been taking, morphine, methadone, constantly, she is, when she's up, she's alert. So I went and she said, take that gold thing, whatever. So I did. And it's on this beautiful gold thing. And she said, that was my mother's cigarette case, top to her cigarette case. She said, would you like to have it? She made it into a necklace. And I said, I would love to have it. She said to me, you're the only one that would wear it. And I said, okay, great. I would wear it in a heartbeat. So I've been wearing it. And one day I wore it and I got 4 compliments. People stopped me in restaurants, in the drugstore, and to say how much they loved it. And so I said something to my mother-in-law the other night, and I said, I really appreciate how you kind of hand gave, your things away. She said, well, I could have just let people come and take whatever they wanted. And then she stopped talking, and I said, but it meant so much that you actually gave each of the pieces away to whoever you thought would like it the best. I said, I really appreciated that. And she turned around and she said, thank you for telling me that. And then she proceeded to tell me how one day when my husband is the oldest of the 9, and then his sister, she had a child every year for 10 years. So she was really never not pregnant. And so when the 2 oldest were in a carriage, she was walking in the street, and she's a Catholic, very religious woman. Somebody stopped her and said something and turned around. Oh, you have the perfect family. You have one of each child. And she said to herself, well, I guess maybe she was pregnant at the time, and that she didn't take that as being a perfect family because it was only 2 children. And so now I said to her, well, now you really have the perfect family. And she stopped and she laughed and she said, thank you. This woman is making no excuses. She is transitioning with the most amount of dignity and grace of anybody I could ever have learned from and imagined being part of her life. And I sit back and I think, why in the world? This is a woman who is positively, physically suffering. She's in pain. She's just awful. I won't even go into the details with you, but it's amazing. And I sit back and I go, what in the world? Why is she still here? And then I think it can't be for her. Maybe, I don't know what her next life is going to be like, but I think it's really for all of us to recognize how much a person can handle and deal with and still handle and deal. That's what I think for me. This whole experience of watching my mother-in-law go through this, that's what it's been amazing to me to watch. How she was the most dignified. I mean, she wouldn't go for a massage because she wouldn't be comfortable having somebody like actually touch her body besides her husband or her children. And yet, things are going on now that she cannot control, where she has to be touched and she has to be cared for. And she's taking it. She's taking it. And I'm like, wow, this is the most amazing person. And I sit back and I'm really like trying to learn as much as I can from her for my life. And I wish you all a person in your life that you can observe like this, that you can see be in some pain, in some conflict with their life, and they hold it beautifully. And I think, looking at her, then I know it's possible for all of us, that if she can go through this, we all can. And what does it take to do that? What does it take to go through all of that? No excuses. Like, what does it take? Like, for me to watch her, I look at it and I go, well, I can do then anything. If she can do this, I can do anything. If she can say this, I can feel this. If she can be there and let her sons do things for her that she never in a million years before would have allowed, then I think I can sit back and go, oh my God, how flexible can I be? How much can I change? It's just been amazing. If I could tape some of what I've experienced from her and share it, I most certainly would. But anyway, I might bring her up again, but I want to get to some other slides. But I'm not. Have you ever had anybody in your life like that? That you've learned, like that mentored you to the max, that you could look at and go, oh my
I have
goodness.
quite a few people that did.
Anybody you can, like, I've been really fortunate. I've had two terrific mother-in-laws and one, as far as women are concerned, and a great mother. My mother is fabulous. I mean, I could look at my mother every single day that she's 90 and approaching 91 and go, oh my goodness. She's got a little car. She goes around. One day she calls me. I've had such a wonderful day today. Well, what'd you do, Mom? Well, I went here and I had lunch here, and then so-and-so called me to come and have dinner. This is my mother. And I'm like, wow, I have been blessed to have some phenomenal women in my life and grandmother. And then so it's really, and I'll tell you what, now I'm writing a book about men, which is really interesting because I had to really take a look and see how I really felt about men. And I've really, through the process of writing this book, I'm in awe of men. I am in awe. Wait till you see my book come out. You're going to see, I can't even stop.
Don't talk about it.
Well, it's great. I have in excess of 20 men.
Don't spoil
Plus. I'm not. Well, this is not
Okay,
spoiling.
I'm just saying, don't spoil.
No, this is not spoiling. That have written their stories from abuse to beauty to creativity to emotion to everything. And I sit back and I'm in awe at how they've made it and what people go through to have a life. To have a life. No excuses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have last week I sat with a man who is bisexual, and he gave me his story, and every couple of minutes he cried at some of the people that he hurt in his life and how he had felt going through his life and how he is straightening things out for himself. And I'm like, wow, I can understand where he's coming from. I can understand from his perspective that what it means to, be bisexual. I mean, it's just been amazing. Just people are amazing. Anyway.
But maybe now you need to write a book about mothers and mother-in-laws.
I will. Right when I get I'm getting the book jacket and the logos and all that stuff done, and when I do, after the cover, the context of this book particularly is done, then I'm going to have other books that I'm going to write that are going to be about the same kind of thing, about relationships. Because I really feel like sometimes we don't understand them. And not understanding them not understanding them in a bigger perspective, I think. I don't know, it doesn't take that much to really listen to somebody and to really hear people and where they're coming from. So the next one. So when people ask, what do you do? Tell them whatever it takes. That's what people do. Whatever it takes to do whatever it is that they need to do. Whatever it takes. I mean, whatever it takes for you to do your job. Whatever it takes for you to do your family. Whatever it takes for you to make up with somebody. Whatever it takes for you to be the best you can be. Whatever it takes. That's what matters. And we shared a quote earlier about being awesome as opposed to perfection. When you really get a handle on who you are, you when you really realize that it is not about perfection, it's about looking at yourself and going, I'm awesome. I've done my best. I've accomplished this. I felt this. I created this. Those are things that cannot be measured by perfection. Those are things that can only be looked at and saying, yes, awesomeness. I am awesome. I've I've gone out of my way. I have been here. I have been with this person. I am awesome. Who was it? Einstein, great quoter. He's a great quoter on Einstein. He says, you can't solve a problem on the same level that it was created. You must rise above it to another level. Well, what does that mean? That means you've got to listen. You've got to take yourself. You can't solve a problem in ugliness when problems were created in ugliness. You got to go bigger. You got to go grander. You got to go greater to a different level. It's not on ugliness that you can solve issues. You can only solve issues on a deeper level, more loving level. You can't solve it on the same level. Have you ever been into a restaurant where there's tons and tons and tons and tons of noise, and you try to talk to the person across the table from you? Have you ever tried that?
All the time.
And what do?
Nothing. You wait until the noise goes down.
Nope, you don't have to do that. Do you yell to the next person to yell above the noise?
Sometimes you try to, but
Okay, that doesn't work either, right? Can I tell you what to do?
okay.
Whisper. Whisper. You change. You get under the noise. I guarantee you. I promise. If you go into a restaurant, listen today, tomorrow, whenever you can, go into a restaurant that's very loud and go in with somebody. Don't match the level of the noise. Don't try to be louder than the noise because you can't. There's no room there. Go underneath the noise. Whisper. Change the level, and you will be heard. It's the same thing with a lot of things.
Can you call the waitress that way too?
Go like this. That's silent completely, no noise at all. Yeah, get the attention. But that's what works. So in all of our lives, matching conflict to conflict ain't gonna work. Matching ugly to ugly ain't gonna work. Matching cruel to cruel ain't gonna work. You're never gonna accomplish anything. Get under the noise. I promise you that will work. Okay, next one. Oh, once again, if anybody wants to call in, you're welcome to. Now this is cut off, so we can't see the whole thing, right? I can't. No, but let me tell you what the gist of it was. When you organize your life, anything is possible. When you are conscious in your life, you can accomplish pretty much everything. When you put your life into perspective, if fear is outside of you. Fear is a future. Fear is not in the present moment. It feels like it's in the present moment, but it's based on something that hasn't happened or based on something that has and that we have changed. So a well-organized life and putting things into perspective will make a big difference to how you go forward.
And you better watch and listen carefully because there's going to be a quiz about what words are missing at the end of the show.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and get... Next week, tune in. Or not next week because it's Memorial. We won't be here. The following week, tune in. I'm going to give the other half.
Okay.
Okay. So, next slide. So, for those of you who have watched our show before, you know that I am passionate, beyond passionate about listening. And the reason I am passionate about listening is because life is got a lot of moving parts. And I believe that listening is the clarity. Listening is the microphone. Listening is the microscope. Listening is everything. That when you tune in and you listen, life becomes clearer, not as chaotic, not as loud, not as busy, very friendly, warm, inviting, loving, caring. Everything good turns out when we listen. And so I believe that when you create a listening practice in your life and you decide, you put a stake in the ground and you say, okay, today I'm going to listen. Listening doesn't mean that you agree to everything that you hear, that you have to agree to everybody that's saying anything. Listening is that you've heard it and that you find the words, you listen for the words that you are able to say back. You are listening for the feelings of whatever it is that you want to share, what you're experiencing. I've created what I call Listening Manifesto. It is a declaration of independence that you are welcome to go to my website for free. I mean, listening is nothing you can charge for, really. It's for free. And I have put into paragraphs all different ways of turning your listening on. And I think you will find it very interesting. So, everything around us gives off information. Everything. Touch, taste, smell, everything. So, when you touch something, you're getting feedback from what you're touching. And that feedback says rough, smooth, gentle. You're hearing, those are the kinds of things you are tuning into. When you smell something, you're getting feedback, information from what you're smelling that says sweet, perfumey, you like it, you don't like it. You're getting feedback. Taste gives you feedback. Certainly what you see gives you feedback. And when you take your seeing and you put it into a universe of listening, then you're seeing more than what you see. You're seeing more dimension. You're getting more into what you see, then what you see, then what you see, and what you see. And when you turn your listening on and you hear yourself making excuses for something, my suggestion is you take it even deeper and you ask yourself questions like, why am I making excuses? Or your listening will tell you that it is an excuse and that you're doing this for whatever reason. And maybe it's a good excuse. Maybe it's a good excuse. Maybe you weren't meant to do this thing. So that's okay. You're okay with it and it's not wrong. But if you have excuse after excuse for not doing certain things, for not going certain places, for not being with certain people, take a look and turn your listening on and allow yourself the pleasure of really seeing these things. Because, first of all, there's nothing wrong with you. It's part of our life's growth is to understand these things. It's part of taking ourselves to this other level when we turn our listening on and we can understand these excuses and where they come from. Because I have a special quote that I like to say, and that's, whose fear are you fearing anyway? Right? Because a lot of our fears are learned from somebody else, whether, it's from reading something, from somebody telling us something. Well, it's the same way with excuses. Whose excuse are you excusing anyway? Or whose excuse are you using anyway? Because a lot of times it's not yours. You've heard somebody, and it becomes yours. You heard somebody say, I don't want to do that because, and then you start to imagine, well, then I shouldn't do it either. Or maybe it's because you don't want to be so successful. Maybe we all have a fear, a lot of people have a fear of being so good that excuses keeps us from being that good. And I'm here to say, why not? The pie only gets bigger. Your being that good does not stop somebody else from being that good too. If anything, your being that good gives somebody else permission to be good too. And I'm of the opinion that if I can be good, then I want, if my being good is a trigger to your being better than me, who cares? And it's not about that. So it's that's not a measurable act. So my being good triggers your being. If this show triggers a little freedom for you, then I'm like, oh, I don't even know you. I can't see you. I don't even know you exist. But I know that there might be something that's said here that plants a seed somewhere. That's why we do this. Because I believe with all of my heart that it is like our like purpose here to be free, to be strong, to be okay, to be willing, to be able, to give ourselves a chance to say, okay, well, this might have, I might have been a fufa here, but because of making a lesson here, I get to learn over here, and I'm stronger here because of making a mess over here. Who cares? What's wrong with making a little mess? What's wrong? You be aware of the mess. And if you're not aware of the mess today, then you know what? Whenever you wake up to knowing that there was a mess, whether it was a year ago, 10 years ago, or yesterday, your consciousness and the awareness cleans up the mess. It's as simple as that. You get to clean it up just because you were conscious and go, whoa, did I really do that? Did I really say that? And yes. So listen deeply. Put your listening first. Let your listen be a bridge to freedom. Freedom from those excuses. Freedom from misunderstandings. Freedom from well, how do you think I know about speaking low in a restaurant? It's because I listened. I thought, this ain't working. And the listening told me, Marilyn, whisper, get under the noise, get under the mess, make it different. And that's what I did. And that's what I want you to do. So the next one, please. A bird sitting on a tree is never afraid of the branch breaking because her trust is not on the branch, but on its own wings. Always believe in yourself. Always. Right? I mean, you can't, what are you going to do? I'm not, if how can it break? And what does breaking mean anyway? Breaking free. Right? With breaking free. Anytime something happens, you are all the more closer to being free. Trust yourself. Your lessons are learned in that branch, being on that, even on the skinny branch, where you're the only one sitting on the little teeny tiny little tip of that branch. You're the only one there. You're meant to learn a lesson. What are you thinking? You have something to think?
No, I was just saying, it's that I don't. I think still it's not breaking free to have a branch break. When you break free, you go, wow. When a branch breaks, you go, oh
Whoa.
And
Yeah, but even in the old there's a lesson.
Of course, there's a lesson.
Well,
the lesson
that's
is
it.
Well, the lesson is for us.
That's
to watch next time.
Yeah, well, the
The
lesson.
bird already knows that it can just take off.
Well,
which is nice.
Yeah, and the lessons are where we get our freedom.
Yeah, there's actually it's a very good lesson.
Yeah.
You learn more from that than from breaking free.
Well,
you don't think about it. Okay,
well,
I did something and breaking free.
That is breaking free. Everything that any lesson learned is breaking free. Every lesson learned, everything that we can look at, that we say is a lesson learned. Every lesson is freedom. I call them freedom steps, not baby steps. Freedom steps. Every little step, every little toe of a step, every little teeny little granule of sand that pulls that is a step in some direction where you can consciously go something about that little grain of sand that you don't, even if you beat yourself up, and I hope to God you don't have to, that you take it as a lesson, but maybe one day you'll chip away at that beating yourself up and all of those things you'll listen backwards to and go, okay, I see that now. So, next one. So, whose fear are you fearing anyway? That's by me. And then the next one, fear less to be successful. That's another one by me. Fear less to be full and successful. That's what I think. I think truly, if you fear a little bit less, you're more successful. I'm not saying jump from here to here. I'm saying a little bit, a little bit. What will you do today that you will fear less? Less fearful of something, whatever it is. What is it? Is it going somewhere? Is it calling somebody? Trying something new? What is it that you can do that is a little bit less fearful, that you can feel and you have to acknowledge yourself for it in order to be successful, in order to be full. And every little less of a fear that you do is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to break free, and it's an opportunity to feel full. Everything, but you got to acknowledge it. It's very important. Acknowledge every little thing, every step that you take. It's most important. What are you doing lately? Anything to break free? Anything that you've been fearing? I am
My age,
actually.
afraid of what?
You're not afraid of anything, even at your age? Then you're not doing enough.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not doing enough.
Then you're not doing enough.
Right.
Because that's another thing. If there's nothing you're a little bit
Well,
apprehensive
I mean,
about,
this is easier said than done. I mean, it's not true, but I can't think of anything right now that I'm afraid of.
well, I have a big training in a week a week and a half,
Hmm.
and I love doing workshops. I love doing seminars. I love speaking, but there's a little something that's keeping me like you know like whoa, it's something coming. It's keeping me conscious, and there's a little about it,
Oh
you know.
well, I don't know. I mean, yeah. What happens if the machine breaks down? But that's not
Well, but
fear.
that's not
That's
no. That's like worry.
anxiety.
Yeah, that's anxiety. That's stress.
Yeah.
That's not. And that's. I'm glad you brought that up because that is not what I'm talking about.
Right.
Because we can spend a lot of time with those things and never dot any I or T or live completely in total chaos and awfulness. So anyway, listen, I have on my website, on the MarilynShannon.com website, a place called Marilyn's Favorite Things. And I would love if you are creating anything, writing any books, any artwork, things that you're selling, of course. If you would like to put it there, I would love to have it. It would be an honor to have it. And here is a coloring book from a friend of mine, Where Heart Touches Matter. It's a chakra coloring book for adults, maybe children too. And she has things written in there, and it's very cool. If you go to my website, it'll take you to the link, and you can check it out further. She's very creative. She writes beautifully. She draws beautifully, and that's on my website. I'm going to be having things there, artwork, all kinds of things that I personally feel attached to. So please feel free to check it out. I have one other thing there, that if you're in business and you need a really good resource to use for meetings, for workshops, webinars, go there to my website. You'll see a thing called Zoom. It's fabulous. I've checked out many of those types of things to use, and they crash. This does not crash. It is great. It can have multiple people in there. I have up to 50. You can share desktops, you can share videos, you can do all kinds of things. You can see people, which I think is very valuable because I love to see people when I'm doing things. So check that out and let me know what you think. And then the last slide is my where you'll find me. And please feel free to connect with me on email anytime. Anytime you have a suggestion for a show, a guest, a topic, anything. You're looking for a coach, please feel free to connect with me. I do business and life coaching, and I would love the opportunity to talk to you about anything. I'm on Twitter, and that's Marilyn Listens on Twitter. Please feel free to connect with me there. Follow me. I'll follow you back. On Facebook, I have several places on Facebook. Marilyn.Shannon, The Breaking Free Show. We have Nissan Communications, where you'll get a taste of the other shows. That's very important. YouTube. If you've missed any of our shows, you are welcome to go to our YouTube channel, Reenchanter, and you can see some of the other shows that we've done. And if you want to subscribe, great. I'll subscribe back. Also, LinkedIn. Do a lot of lovely posts on LinkedIn as well. So if you're on LinkedIn, please reach out to me there. And I would love to make friends with you everywhere. And then MarilynShannon.com is my website. You can keep up with what we're doing, different things that we're adding, getting ready to add some stuff about my book there. So come there and visit me. And what else for you? Anything else going on? Anything else can you think of?
No, not really.
Any new shows coming up?
In June, we're going to start with
Oh, yes.
Terrence.
Yes, we're going to have another show. What time?
Rebels with a Purpose.
Rebels with a Purpose. And yes, and that's going to be and he actually, Terrence is one of the men in my book. He has a very interesting story of how he came through childhood into manhood, and he's become
Spoiler alert.
What?
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Why?
You're telling the story.
So what?
No.
You're supposed to tell the stories. It's
People
good.
need to get the book.
Yeah, but in order to get the book, you got to give them a taste of the story. So anyway, he is one of the men in my book, a beautiful man with a very cool story. He started when he was little and how he went through life, and it's really a lovely story. And so he's going to have a show on here as well, starting in June. And he's going to be having guests on who have also gone through some of their struggles and how they've accomplished what they've accomplished. Look, I don't think anybody just wakes up one day and into being all-knowing, everything. It just doesn't happen. I mean, we learn from our lessons. We struggle through our lessons. We become who we are through our lessons. I mean, I sit with my mother-in-law so many times and I am like in pain. And I'm watching this woman and I'm going, oh my God, dear God, give me another lesson. Make this really valuable. Give me the words to say, patience, care, whatever I'm supposed to learn more of, let me have it, because I want all of the experience, as many experiences I have in my life, to be meaningful and mindful. I want to be mindful. I want to be conscious. And I share the same with you. So each week we come here, except for next week because it's Memorial Day here in the United States. But if you're wherever you are, each week we come and we share stories. We have wonderful guests, and from time to time I go on a exciting journey, which I've done today, in bringing in different thoughts and pictures and different things to share with you. So feel free to come back each week. I'll be here. Connect with me at MarilynShannon.com. And with that, have a fabulous day. I'll see you soon. Bye.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCBVI members, The Tanya Love Show, Your Healthy Pet with Gisela DiCarlo. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals. CarolinaApparel.com and DeltaForce.net.